Trump just pulled the insane move of delivering a politically charged speech at the Department of Justice, which would already be grossly inappropriate unto itself. Presidents generally respect the line drawn between their office and the DOJ, and they don't cross it, much less enter the DOJ to talk directly to the prosecutors about their political priorities. But not only did Trump cross that line, he blew so far past it, it wasn't visible in the rearview mirror. Here are a few moments that put on full display the absurdity of this speech that was delivered.
And I believe that CNN and MSDNC, who literally write 97.6% bad about me, are political arms of the Democrat Party. And in my opinion, they're really corrupt and they're illegal. What they do is illegal.
Okay, I don't want to mince words about what's happening here. Trump is standing in front of the nation's prosecutors at the DOJ, and he is signaling to them, in no uncertain terms, that his priority is the imaginary illegality of TV networks that commit the crime of, you ready for this? Saying critical things about him. And I want to be clear, this is what fascism looks like, and I understand that word may have lost its meaning because it's been repeated so much, but suppressing speech that is critical of the leader of a country is quite literally fascist behavior. And if there are Republicans watching who scoff at the notion that he's a fascist, ask yourself, what would you call Barack Obama if he said that Fox News is committing a crime by doing mostly negative coverage of him? What would you call that? Take all the time you need with that one. But the more dangerous part of this is that he chose to convey this message in front of the DOJ's prosecutors. This wasn't an accident. It was a message. It was a message being conveyed directly to the people in that room who now understand, in no uncertain terms, that their job is not necessarily to go after terrorists or murderers or predators or rapists, but rather to do the political bidding of this president. Trump doesn't suggest that the networks are illegal to a group of prosecutors in a vacuum, and anyone who isn't ascribing intent to his actions is not paying attention, nor do they understand the way that Donald Trump operates. And that's why, by the way, Trump went on to also name drop some specific enemies.
There's a guy named Norm Eisen. I don't even know what he looks like. His name is Norm Eisen of Crew. He's been after me for 9 years. Now, Crew is a charitable organization, and the reason I'm saying this, Todd, is I'm only going to get one chance to say this. But these are bad people. I don't know who he is. I don't know what he looks like. But everything I read is Norm Eisen of Crew. And Crew is a charitable organization. And that's a political thing. His sole life is to get Donald Trump. And he's been vicious and violent. And he's trying. And he probably had pretty good success over the years. But with me, how did he do? I think I'm president. Am I here because I'm president? But we had to take all of that abuse. Even during the trials, we had to take tremendous abuse. Like, these wonderful guys, they're not legitimate people. They're horrible people. They're scum. And you have to know that. And you're going to have these cases where you can't allow yourselves to be deflected. You just can't let it happen. You have such a higher calling. With the help of radicals like Mark Elias, Mark Pomerantz, and these are people that nobody's ever seen anything like it. So many others, but these are people that are bad people, really bad people. They tried to turn America into a corrupt communist and third world country, but in the end, the thugs failed and the truth won. Freedom won, justice won, democracy won, and above all, the American people won. There could be no more heinous betrayal of American values than to use the law to terrorize the innocent and reward the wicked.
Now, if you watch this channel, you already know Mark Elias and you already know Norm Eisen. And you know them because they spend every single day fighting for what's right, and they win in court. And they win because the law is on their side. And that is why I have them on so frequently. And Trump and Republicans hate them because they win. And in fact, I interviewed both of them immediately after being name dropped by Trump. So if you want to watch those interviews, check the most recent videos on this channel. But to the exact point that I made before about the fact that Trump is targeting not just left-wing networks, but left-leaning attorneys by name in front of the very people who have the power to investigate them or try and prosecute them, is a deliberate choice by the president. And that's a point that wasn't lost on Mark.
He didn't just name-check me. He didn't just name-check me in an incoherent rant in which he accused me of various things that aren't true. But he did it at the Department of Justice.
Yeah.
You know, he did it with Pam Bondi in the room. He did it with after he praised Kash Patel. He did it after he praised the head of the deputy attorney general, the head of the criminal division, right? This was done in a setting in which, you know, the president of the United States is standing in front of the leadership of the Department of Justice and mentioning lawyer after lawyer. You know, you mentioned Norm Eisen, who named Jack. Mark Pomerantz, whose name also came up, is a well-known lawyer in New York City. And he's doing it in an audience because he is trying to implicitly suggest to those people, hey, you know who I really hate? Yeah. These are the people I really hate. And so, yes, it has downstream effects with, you know, the mobs of angry MAGA trolls and the like. And I have to take that seriously. But I have said for many, many months now, and you and I have talked about this, I've written about this for Democracy Docket, like we are going to see the weaponization of the Justice Department. In fact, we have already seen the weaponization of the Justice Department. We have seen chilling examples of how he is trying to turn the full force of the federal government against his political opponent. And so I think that is the other context that we saw here. But let me say something loud and clear. I am not going to back down from speaking the truth about Donald Trump. I'm not going to back away from suing or litigating against Donald Trump. I have a case right now in which I am litigating against Donald Trump for his excesses in his executive orders. So it's not going to affect me. You know, I'm not going to bow and scrape. I'm not going to bend a knee. Like, I'm going to stand tall and keep doing what I'm doing. But Brian, what we have seen him do in industry after industry is impact others. Right. So what message is he sending to other lawyers who maybe weren't mentioned? What message is he sending to other law firms through this? And you and I have talked about the chilling effect he's trying to have on the media, on corporate America, on billionaires, on law firms. And that's really what I worry about.
That courtesy of the guy who spent the last several years bitching and moaning about a weaponized government at the hands of Joe Biden, whose DOJ literally prosecuted his fucking son. And yet now, this guy, Donald Trump, walks into the Department of Justice to list out his enemies by name, and yet somehow this isn't weaponization. Got it. Here's another moment.
We had an amazing judge in Florida, and her name is Eileen Cannon, and I didn't know her. I still don't know her. I don't believe I ever spoke to her, even during the trial. But I did appoint her, federal judge. And these fake lawyers, these horrible human beings, were hitting her so hard, public relations-wise. They were playing the ref. I don't think it's legal. They might as well go out and just shout it in a courthouse. They were saying she was slow, she wasn't smart, she was totally biased, she loved Trump. I didn't know her, other than I saw her the couple of days that I was in court, and I thought her decorum was amazing.
So just to make sure that I'm understanding, it is illegal for a left-wing TV network to criticize Trump, but now it's also illegal for left-wing commentators to criticize a pro-Trump judge. Would really love to hear from the pro-free speech defenders out there. Any First Amendment constitutionalists who want to step in and explain how MSNBC anchors deserve to be jailed for criticizing Trump, and how anyone who's criticized Judge Cannon can also join them in prison? Or is the First Amendment more of just a suggestion than anything else when it comes to criticizing Republicans? And look, we could go on, but the point here is clear. Trump swept into office amid promises of focusing on you. He felt your pain. He knew that life was hard. He understood that costs were too high, that rent was too high, that housing was too high, that grocery prices were too high. And yet he's made the conscious decision, once actually in office, with power to wield, to ignore all of that in favor of focusing on political retribution against his enemies. Which is to say nothing, by the way, of his plans to cut Medicaid and food stamps and Social Security. So look, what I'm not interested in right now is the blame game. The election happened. What I'm focused on right now is what we do moving forward. Trump is proving that he's not interested in you, but you should have elected officials in office who are there to serve you. Trump can't. He's there to serve one person. He is broadcasting as much right now. And sadly, that person is Donald Trump himself. Before you go, first, if you enjoyed this content and you want to see more and support independent media, please subscribe to this channel. The subscribe button will be right here on the screen. But second, the reality is that we're now in a political environment where this administration can lean on any of the social media platforms to suppress certain voices if they don't like critical coverage. That means my longevity here is in the hands of a few tech billionaires who are already making it clear that they're willing to cater to this White House. To that end, signing up for my newsletter is a great way for me to be able to reach you directly if that ever becomes necessary. I'll put the link on the screen as well, so please sign up. It's completely free, but there's also an option to do a paid subscription if you'd like to support my work. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching.